Good evening, parents. A very good evening to you all. We welcome you, esteemed parents, for this webinar on conscious parenting. I, Gitanjali Dhul, the Wellbeing Coordinator for Pathways World School, will be the host for this evening. It gives me immense pleasure today to share that we have three dignified panelists with us who will be sharing their thoughts. But before going through the format of the webinar, it's important, it's very integral for us to understand the significance of the session. I hope you all will agree with me that the unprecedented times of this pandemic have been rewarding as well as challenging for many of us as parents. So the panelists over here, whom we have invited to have a little talk with you, would help us understand different aspects of parenting. Because I personally believe that parenting is something which you cannot learn from any book. You learn from your own experience. So our panelists today would be going to share certain aspects which we feel it's very important to strengthen the connect with your child. So the format for the webinar would be, we will be having the speakers coming up and they'll be sharing their thoughts on different topics, different issues. And then I would request you to just, as and when the questions keep on coming in your mind, keep on putting on the chat box, that there's not the chat box, the question answer box, so that we can take these questions at the end of the session. The speakers will have their talk, they'll share their thoughts. And then after that, we are going to have half an hour of question answers round where our panelists would love to talk to you to answer your questions and any concerns if you have. So without taking much of your time, I would like to invite my first panelist, who's Miss Mansi. Miss Mansi Sangvi, she is a psychologist. She's a special educator and she is an art-based therapist. She is working in a mental health center. She's working as a mental health professional, and she has an expertise in various therapies. So, and she is running her own mental health studio. So she will be talking to you about the positive reinforcements, how it is important, and why positive reinforcements plays a very important role to strengthen the bond, the beautiful bond, the relationship with you share with your child. So I would like to welcome Miss Mansi. Over to you, Miss Mansi.
Thank you so much, Gitanjali ma'am. So I'd just like to share my screen first. Wishing a very good evening to our lovely parents who've joined us today. Gitanjali, yeah, all right. So a very good evening to all our lovely parents here. And conscious parenting, very, very well written by the team of Pathways World School. It's a very essential topic to be discussed, especially in this pandemic. And I just love this line that they've mentioned here, raising ourselves to best raise our children. So today, my topic is going to be impact of positive reinforcements. So first of all, I want all our parents to take 3 deep breaths and get ready to receive whatever myself, Pooja ma'am and Meena ma'am are going to share with y'all. Because I'm sure y'all are all y'all all might be thinking about your meetings and what's going to happen after this session, before this session, tired. So just completely calm yourselves down and let's get ready to receive whatever we can from this session today. All right. So the word might sound extremely very complicated. What is a positive reinforcement? It's a very simple term. Positive reinforcement is basically whatever desired behavior or whatever behavior your child is putting forth, which you think is positive, all we're going to do is we're going to encourage the child to, do that kind of a behavior rather than concentrating on what the child is doing wrong or what the child is doing in a negative connotation. So there are many, many, many ways of positive reinforcement. For example, in schools and in at home, there are so many parents and teachers who focus a lot on giving stars and stickers and a smiley, etc. There are a lot of compliments given to all age groups, the children of all age groups, public praise. We say a lot of positive things. You've done so well. Congratulations. You should give a pat on your back. Being the teacher's helper or the choice of the classroom chores, reading, making crafts, playing sports, anything that they like, could be added as a reinforcement. Extra credit or bonus points on doing whatever work you're doing, posting their work on a place of honor, maybe giving an award or just saying it in a family ceremony or something, just announcing that your child has done something. A homework, if the homework is done on time, maybe giving a free night, giving a choice of activity that they would like doing, making something nice for them. So there are many, many, many kind of reinforcers which we as laymen use every single day with our children. But the thing that I'm going to discuss about more is, if we're not getting the impact of these reinforcements, then how are we exactly supposed to provide the consistency and the frequency? And we want to see a change in our children when we are implementing this thing, if we are not demotivated. So these are the things that I'm going to be talking about in the further slides. I'll just be telling you a basic about what reinforcers are. There are four kinds of reinforcers: the natural reinforcers, social reinforcers, token reinforcers, and tangible rewards that we give. Now, natural reinforcers are, the child or the teenager or the adolescent themselves get reinforced. They're doing something nice. They themselves feel that, yeah, we've scored this much, or we've done this well, or I've received a medal in my competition or contest, or they feel good from within themselves if they even get a pat from their teacher. So those are natural reinforcers. Social reinforcers are when you have approval of your parents, your friends, your relatives, your teachers, your coaches, etc. Token reinforcers are generally those kind of rewards which when you give a separate token to them. For example, if you have a reward chart, or if you have a behavior modification chart, or if you provide the children with lots of stars, or some kind of a tick or checklist system where, by the end of the week, if the child is doing well, then the child is going to be reinforced with something. The tangible rewards are obviously the gifts that they get, or the something that is, gives an additional satisfaction to them, to restore their internal motivation. Now, how will these reinforcers work? So today is going to be mostly about how effectively we are going to be using them. The first thing that all your parents need to know, that you're all doing a good job already. There is no dictionary or a Bible which is going to tell you that, you're doing a good job. But as Gitanjali very nicely mentioned, that yes, we learn from our experiences, and that's when we evolve as parents. Because you've not done a course or something on parenting, before having a child. So you all need to do 2-3 basic things: calm down, not panic, and get yourselves together, rather than being in a state of worry or tension all the time, that, my child is not responding to this reinforcement, or my child is not being able to connect to me, or because I'm being so critical, my child is not affectionate towards me, or I have my meetings and the child is all the time over my on my laptop or my phone, etc. So you need to first calm down so that you can handle a situation. Now, first thing is, you need to observe, understand, and then you need to respond and not react. There is a very major difference between responding and reacting. Responding is, right now, for example, you're receiving whatever information I'm giving, then you're going to think about it, and then you're going to respond. But reaction is, before you receive something, you are already ready, to give it to the child, or give it to anybody around you. You react. There's a big difference between that. Brainstorm with your partner. Sit and discuss things with your partner, with your relatives, with your in-laws, or with anybody, the teachers, the special educators, counselors. Brainstorm with them and figure out which are the areas, the areas where you really want your child to develop. So you really need to identify the areas where you feel your child is not to the mark, or is not being able to manage. We assume things a lot, which is where we face a lot of difficulty, because when you have a judgment before the child does something, that leads to a complete different set of problems altogether. So let's not assume things. For example, many children, if they're using their phone and their parents come into the room and they see that, you're on your phone, you're not studying, so we start assuming that you're on the phone all the time. So when we have when we assume things, and when we say such things, the children get annoyed, agitated, and then there's a exchange of words, or maybe exchange of expressions, which then makes the whole environment a little more negative. Being aware about the milestones is very important. When we talk about toddlers, or when we talk about children in their when they've just set into puberty, etc. So every milestone comes with different kinds of difficulties. So you need to be very aware about what kind of reinforcement would be used with what kind of age group. Things are very readily available on the net, where you want to just go and Google things and find out about how I should use creative ways. But please make sure that when you're finding something, it should be very age appropriate for your child. Frequency and consistency, my dear parents, is the I think personally, according to the clients that I see, parents start using a method, but the implementation stops after a week or two, and then we come complaining again that, this is not working out for my child. I don't think it's working out. So I think the catch to this whole thing is that it should be consistent for at least 3 months to see a proper change in your child. And if you're effectively using it, then I'm sure you're going to see a change within a month. Negotiation is one of the most important aspects as well. When I say negotiation, especially with the adolescent kids, even with the toddlers or the class 3 and 4 kids, negotiation is an art which, as parents in today's time, especially considering the pandemic, it would really, really help you all, especially if you all are working parents. Negotiation is going to help you to come to a common point and have basically sail in the same boat rather than having your legs on both the boats. So you have to have that art of negotiating with your child, discussing things with your child, listening to your child's perspective, giving your perspective, and coming to a plain field. Being a role model is I think we've learned everything, mostly everything from our parents, and so are our kids going to learn from us. So I think we should practice what we preach. And if we are feeling weak, if you are feeling upset, if you are feeling sad, please emote that as well with your children, because then they are going to not feel weird if they are sad or upset or if they've done a mistake, etc. I think you should be exactly how you are, and you should just place those things to your children and wait for their suggestions to come in also. So it's not like, that the parents have to always have a strong front or something like that. All the aspects of your soft skills or emotions should be placed in front of your children so that they can reinforce that kind of a behavior within them. Are you clear at times about what your child wants from you, or vice versa, of what you want from your child? At one point in time, because I'm a special educator, I know the parent wants the child to do 3-4 things together. No, when you want to reinforce any one behavior, you have to make a goal, select that for the week, I'm going to focus on this specific behavior, and I'm going to let go of the other behaviors that are surrounding and causing a problem for that behavior. Because then if your radar is too much, when you're putting your effort into too many things, then it's going to be a problem, because you're not focused on any one thing or one change that you want to bring about. The next thing is that if you think that something is not working out, please spontaneously shift your focus and plan ahead. Go to the next step if you think it's not working out for your child. I'd just like to show a very small video which is related to effective praise.
Let's watch two families. Oh, good job, Peter! The mom acknowledged what Peter did, and that's a good first step. Because the praise was so vague, Peter doesn't know if he did something well, or if his mom is just in a good mood. Lots of parents give general praise like, good job, fantastic, great, keep up the good work. That type of praise isn't effective. Let's watch again.
Peter, I'm so glad you shared your cookie. Because you shared your cookie, now your brother can have some cookie and he'll share his toys with you.
The mother did a great job. She described what Peter did well and explained why doing that behavior is important by using something that was meaningful to Peter, playing with his brother's toys. Let's watch another example. This time, we're going to see a dad praise his daughter even though the task isn't finished.
Great job cleaning up the car. After your friends made a mess of it, you're still gonna vacuum, right?
Well, I've been a little busy cleaning everything else up, so yeah.
The father praises and then drops the ball. He didn't give a reason why it was meaningful to his daughter that she should clean the car. Let's watch again.
Wow, good job cleaning up the trash. Looks like you just have a little vacuuming left. You know, when you're cleaning up the car nice, I'm more likely to let you borrow it. Come get me when you're done.
Okay. Well, so Katie and Megan wanted to go to the movies tonight, and I was wondering...
You wanted to take the car out.
Yeah.
Well, you did a great job vacuuming. So, yeah, you can take the car out.
Oh, yes.
This time, the father did all the steps. He recognized what was hard for her. He described what she did well. He gave a reason why it was important to her and also gave her a reward. She earned being able to use the car next time she wanted. It may not seem intuitive to praise your children when it seems like there's nothing to praise, but let me share my experience with you.
Right. So I found this video extremely very effective, and that is why I thought this would give a very good example in terms of both adolescent kids and the young ones. So effective praise, we do praise, but is that praise effective, and is it having an impact on your child? So this is true for every reinforcement you give. If you're giving a reinforcement and not seeing the impact or the effect if it is making on your child, then there's no point giving that reinforcement. So you need to also analyze what you're doing and see whether the implementation is effective or not. Also, these things don't come naturally all the time. You have to practice and train yourself to make such reinforcements. Moving on to the next slide. I personally feel so. The other two panelists are going to discuss a lot in details about this, but I personally feel that we should always focus on the real things rather than thinking about grades or exams or competition. We have to build these skills which are mentioned on the screen, which are extremely very important for a child's foundation. Out of when these skills have been taught to the child through day-to-day experiences, that's when they grow up as an adult or as an adolescent, they're actually going to analyze and be ready for the world and not face self-esteem issues or self-confidence issues. Empathy, having a positive outlook towards everything, and focusing on effort rather than focusing on your the final result. The effort is more important. So I think these few aspects are extremely very important also. Picking up your battles very carefully. You can't, as I already said, you can't have your eye on every single thing and criticize every single thing. You have to make sure, yeah, these are my priorities. So please set a priority that this thing needs to be first dealt with. So I will make my reinforcers which are connected to these aspects or these good behaviors. Obviously taking a proper follow-up on how things are happening. You just can't make a promise or tell the child, I'm going to play a game of chess with you, and then say that I'm busy with a meeting. If you've committed something, you have to stand by that commitment so that it can cultivate a mutual respect between the two, between your child and yourself. Words that could be used for positive reinforcement. Parents, you can take a picture of this slide. It's basically, these are very, 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 for example, wow, you put both your arms in your coat all by yourself. What bright, happy colors you've picked for the dog spots. Thanks for coming straight home from the movie. I get worried when you stay out late without telling me and what you're doing. Next time I'll pick you up at 10 p.m. These are very, very assertive statements and very reinforcing statements for the children, which are not at all negative or does not have aspects of a no or a rudeness or a weird body language. These are very positive statements, which when the children hear, we don't push in that adrenaline in them or that anger in them, that irritability, that my parents are always after me. So it gives a very positive approach. These are a few reward charts which you could use for your children, either printouts or you could have a good manners chart, learn to share, listen to what your parents are saying, and then at the end you could have a result, and then you have bonus points for that. These are very simple charts which are available online. You could just take them and download them. Things that they like, be a good listener, maybe no whining, be nice to your brother. One more thing that I'd like to say is that as parents, it's not very, easy for you all to juggle between so many responsibilities. So being a support to each other is extremely very important. And also, when you expect something from your child, the child also expects something from you. So it's a very give and take relationship. So if you're reinforcing your child anything which is anything related to maybe taking care of your habits, or being polite when people come over, or especially with adolescents, the technology, even with the young kids right now today, technology is the most problematic situation for the parents. Please give the iPad, please don't take my phone, don't be on the laptop the whole day. So you have to give them alternatives to keep themselves busy, rather than just saying please don't be on the phone or don't be on the laptop. Give them other alternative options, or spend that kind of alternative time. Also, please counsel your people working at home, the household people who are doing the household chores, or other nannies or tutors, or the grandparents, etc. Everyone should be on the same boat. Nobody should be on a different page. Otherwise the child very well knows how to sort of break through and kind of create a lot of menace. And I just feel every parent is doing a good job, because your intention is always and always to do well. So I think kudos to that. And everyone is doing a good job. You just need to see where you're going wrong and just make a little bit of modification, and you're all going to do a good job. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Mansi, for making us understand the broader concept of what positive reinforcements are. So, as parents, we know that we have to praise our kids, and we do praise our kids. Like Mansi very rightly said that, praising is important, and we do praise. But sometimes what happens is we do not give the reason for that praise. I guess this is the takeaway from this session, that, it's very important that we praise the kid, we understand, we observe the kid, then we respond. I guess these are the key elements. Consistency in your approach, as rightly said by Mansi. And commitments. If you've committed something to the child, maybe we feel that it's all right, it's a very small commitment, but it's very important for that child to see that whether that commitment is being followed or not. So this brings me to our next speaker, who is Miss Meena. She is a counselor, a therapist, and a soft skill trainer. She will be going to talk to us about how to say no. Now, she has 30 years of experience in this field. She has various therapies which she worked with, NLPs and music therapies and hypnotherapies and all these things. So now what is she going to talk about is that how assertive parenting. It's very important to set boundaries for our kids. And in today's time, it's we always keep on saying no, 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 to that extent that the no actually loses its actual meaning. So now I would like to welcome Miss Meena. She'll be going to talk about assertive parenting, how to say no, and no is not a negative word. So over to you, Miss Meena.
Thank you, Gitanjali, for inviting me to this beautiful forum. You have introduced me as a counselor, therapist, and a trainer, but I would also like to say that I'm not only a counselor, therapist, and a trainer, but a parent for 3 children and grandparents for 4 children, So my youngest is 7 years and my eldest is 19 years. What I did with my children was great, but I think what my children are doing with their children is even greater, And I'm sure they'll learn a lot from this presentation that Mansi has made, I am going to share the screen and start my presentation, which, as Gitanjali has said, to share and to say no. But how effectively to say no? Assertive parenting, how to say no. Now, like Gitanjali said, it is very important to say no, but how to say it and when to say it. I'm going to take you on a journey, and Mansi has really set a nice trend for it. She has explained so beautifully as to what parenting means, good and bad parenting. Now, let's talk about setting boundaries for your children. Now, how we can rename it? Maybe we can rename this. Alternatively, we can rename it how to say yes, or maybe how to say no. What is more important is to say yes or to say no with respect to your children for taking that decision for them. Can we say yes or can we say no? Now, the answer is not easy, as each child and each parent is different. We all know that. All children are different, and so are the parents. No one size cannot fit all. So one size cannot fit all. Like I yield my patients through customized therapies tailored to meet the specific challenges and personalities, the boundaries for your child need to be set in a specific context relevant to you and her, him or her. It is very, very important to set your boundaries, but those boundaries should be set respective of the child, who he or he is. What are the boundaries that we are going to set for him, and what are the boundaries that we are going to set for her? What is the age group that we are going to set boundaries? So let me take you on the ages where we are going to set the boundaries. The answer is not easy. Now, what I want to give you, therefore, is not a list of solutions, but a framework for meeting the most difficult challenge of setting and resetting boundaries for your children. For developing this framework, I would like to segment the children into 3 categories: up to 5, 5 to 10, 10 to 15. For each of these age groups, the strategies have to be different for when and how to say no, and when and how to say yes. This is exactly what I spoke about. It is very difficult to customize. We need to have different strategies for different age groups: 5, 5 to 10, 10 to 15. So let's move on to 5, age 5. Up to 5 years of age. When the child is too young, he or she is entirely dependent on the parents for their development. We all know that. Right from the time the child takes birth till the age of 5 or 7, I say, it is very important. The parenting becomes so important. That is the time when the child is gathering the belief systems, where the child is understanding rights and wrongs. So the age from 0 to 5 or to 7 is a very important time when the parents will spend maximum time, because once it has been set, the thought process has been set, the boundaries have been set, the parenting is going to be easy, and the children and you are going to be in sync with each other. The strategy to set boundaries should be based on love and care, as they are the most effective stimuli at this stage to form their value systems. Now, at this age, as I said before, the child's mind is very receptive. It soaks whatever it needs. It is like a sponge. You give them love, it will soak love. You scold them, it will scold scolding, If a mother follows through with what she says to the child learns direct literal communication. But on the other hand, if mother does not follow through with what she says, the child receives incongruent messages and begins to look for hidden meanings in what is being said. So that is what I mean to say when I say that age appropriate, and right from 0 to 5 or to 7, it is very important to have a sync with them, to understand them so that the child understands you in return. Your behavior with your children at this stage sets the tone for the future behavior of your children. As I said before, this age is very important, from 0 to 5 or to 7, to set the tone so that your child's behavior in the future has been set and the stage has been set and you are able to communicate and the child is able to understand you much better. As we know, the mother is the epitome of love and care. She plays the maximum role in teaching children what is right and wrong. She should be able to say no with authority and disciplined approach. Very important. I'm going to go on and tell you how to say no with authority and yet with a disciplined approach, but the love and care remains where it should. Now let's move on to the second stage of a child's development. Between 5 to 10 years of age, at this stage, the external influences such as school, friends, teachers, etc. start playing important roles in shaping up their personalities. Up to age 10, the child's library of associations and identifications, that is where they're learning. Some of these negative and positive associations form a life script. This life script is formed from what we know. It does not know good from bad or right from wrong. It is only aware of associations and identifications. And so, at this stage, the children are exposed to many things beyond the control of parents, and often the fight is about how to neutralize the bad influence. Now, I would like to share with you an example here. The logic of explaining why a mobile is not desirable or necessarily has to be accompanied by acceptance of the fact that these modern day instruments also have great educational value. So, parents have the task of channelizing the children to the beneficial side of these items and limiting the exposure for a limited period and under supervision. It's very important that these exposures should be done under supervision. Here, the boundaries are set, not by saying no, but by saying that let us do it together at the right time for the right reasons. Now, if your homework needs to be done, then let's do it. I will be giving you that screen time, that time which is needed for you to do your homework. Or maybe if you want to play, then let us set a time. Like my daughter, who's the youngest daughter, she has a 7.5-year-old son. She has set his screen time and he knows after dinner, he will get 20 minutes of screen time. And 20 minutes he switches off before he's telling her back, now Advik, you need to switch it off, He will do it before the mother has actually asked him to switch it off, So what we have done is to set boundaries, but set boundaries with agreement with each other, The child is understanding that this is my screen time and I need to go on the screen, but I need to switch it off after 20 minutes. So invariably, he will switch it off even before the parent has asked them to switch it off. Now let's move on to the other age group, which is 10 to 15 years. Now here, parents and friends, the challenge comes from the fact that while children are developing fast into young adults, parents are tending to be obsolete in their spectrum of knowledge, and therefore, the boundaries need to be anchored in mutual respect and pride. Sometimes the child tells you, Mom, what do you know? You don't know. I don't think you know how to operate this gadget. So, all right, maybe I don't know it. Can we sit together and do it? I need to learn from you just as you have learned from me. So let's do it with mutual respect and pride. I do it even as a grandparent. I sit with my grandson who's 19 and I ask him, can you tell me how to set my laptop? Can you help me to make my presentations? So we are doing it together and yet we are doing it with respect and pride. Now, certain degree of independence is also necessary at this stage, which is 10 to 15. And therefore, the task is to let them set their own boundaries based on the value system and the pride of being part of your family. Like I've said earlier, the boundaries have to be set based on our value system. Each family has their own value system and all the value systems are just fine for them, All that we need to do is to exercise that value system and inculcate. कहते हैं ना हम जो हमने सीखा है बचपन में वही हम आज तक करते आ रहे हैं. So it's important to have those value systems in place, and those value systems can be projected when we follow those same value systems. Like Mansi says, we have to follow that. We have to be a mirror to them so that they do exactly and follow the value system that have been set by the families. Here, the no is defining certain red lines, very important, which cannot be crossed. Red lines cannot be crossed. Orange lines can be crossed only when you are around, and green lines which can be crossed on their own. So we have these certain boundaries that we have created with the children, and right from beginning, the child knows that these are certain boundaries that I can cross, and these are certain boundaries that I can't. And these are certain boundaries that I can cross with parental supervision. So all these we have to sort of inculcate in the child right from the beginning that what are their boundaries. The pride in becoming a capable person needs to be inculcated, and shame in doing something needs to be understood. Very important. I've not done this right. It needs to be understood why I have not done this right. Can we sit down and have a word together? In the evening, my children sit with their children and they talk to them and say, you did this right, and I'm so proud of you. But somewhere I feel that you could have done this better. So let's see how you can do this better. So the child understands what he or she can do more. Pride, shame, and fear all need to be used at appropriate times as motivators for the right behavior without serious side effects. It's very important. As I have been talking about, we do have and we have seen serious side effects, and that happens only when there's lack of communication. Now, communication becomes the most vital in any relationship, whether it is with your spouse, with your children, with your neighbor, with your friends. If there is a breakdown of communication, then there is definitely going to be a problem. So we should understand not to break down that communication and have good communication with everybody around us, especially our children as parents. And now, I would like to end it. I would like to say that the prerequisite on a healthy and productive relationship between you and your children is a two-way communication based on mutual love and respect. If that does not happen, the disasters only can come when communication breaks down. Like I said earlier, since I am into the counseling field for many years now, as Gitanjali said, for 30, 35 years, I have been a counselor, and for all groups, age groups, teens, adults, and I have seen disastrous effects when the communication channels are not open, when they have broken down, when people are not seeing eye to eye each other, when the parents are not seeing eye to eye with the children, and they're not able to sit down with them and ask them, what has it happened to school? What has happened in school today? Today you don't seem to be the same. You're not as chirpy as you were yesterday. Is this something that's happened to you today? Can we talk about it? So very nicely we can sit down with all age groups. My grandson, as I said, is so young, and even when he was 5 to 6, he used to come back and tell his mother, sometimes when I used to go and visit them, that look, Nani, I don't think I liked school today. Why? What happened? My teacher wasn't very pleasant to me, or I had a fight with my friend. So it's very necessary for them to vocalize, to tell the parent, and that is what is going to set the tone for later years. The child will have a best counselor at home with their parents rather than look for a counselor outside or look for a therapist outside. I'm not saying that it's wrong to look for a counselor or a therapist outside, but the parent has to be the best counselor and the best therapist. Who can understand the child better than the parent himself or herself? So that is why the communication channels with your children have to be open all the time, and look at them and see where is it that you need to reach out to them, and where is it that how is it that they can reach out to me. So this is the work that I do, and thank you so much for sharing this screen with me and sharing this time with me, parents and the faculty. And again, once again, I thank Gitanjali for inviting me to this forum and sharing my thoughts on parenting and grandparenting for that matter. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am. It was a delight to hear certain things, and I absolutely agree with you. I second you on that, setting boundaries with agreements, I guess that is something we need to take care of, because, right time, right reasons. At this age specifically, the children really need reasons for saying no. If you just say no, they need a justification for that. And I guess that is how we have to maintain a balance between love and care and setting discipline. So thank you so much, ma'am. So now we have our next speaker, Miss Pooja Bhatt. She is a philanthropist. She's a healer. She's a leader of compassion and kind-heartedness. She's a founder of Offbeat Support Foundation and Soul Setu Wellness Foundation. I guess two terms I could only say for her is passion and dedication. Her only motto of life is the well-being of everyone around her. So let's welcome her. She'll be talking about more about resolving conflicts. So how to resolve a conflict amicably. So over to you, Miss Pooja.
Hello everyone, very good evening to all of you, and thank you Gitanjali for such a warm welcome. And I would also like to thank Pathway School and also their team, especially Gitanjali ma'am, because I've been always looking upon her, the way she's so dedicated. And as we all know that she's been a wellness coordinator of the school, and I've been in touch with her for all the right reasons, which are of course wellness, as she spoke about. We have been talking a lot about how we can bring change and apply things which can bring upon for the betterment of the children, but at the same time for also not the right reasons, because I am a mother of an adolescent, 15 years, and he's my son at Pathways. I am a Pathways in parent, and also I have a daughter who's 21 years of age, and she's pursuing her hospitality. So here I am as a parent today, and thank you for giving me this platform and having trust in me and believing in me to share my experience on how to resolve conflicts with your children. So I'm sure this is all a very touchy topic for everyone, for every parent. And I'm also struggling each day to, be the best parent I can be, as all the parents does every day. I think they're striving to be the best parent for their children. And of course they are. And there's no parenting which is, I feel, is right and wrong. The only difference is, are you parenting your child, nurturing your child from the length of awareness and consciousness, or are you an unconscious parent and unaware parent? I can say that from my experience, because I have experienced that unaware and unconscious parenting of my style of parenting with my children, and how it transformed. And especially I want to tell my all my parents that when a child is born, we parents are so elated, and we feel that this child has born for us. We have given the child this birth, and they are just for us for all life now. But there, this is the thing where we go wrong, that children are born from us, but they are not born for us. So we, of course, they chose a womb to take birth from our womb, but they have their own individuality. They are a complete soul in themselves. They have their own soul plan. They have their own destiny, which is playing a very big role. So I would just want to say that, like I did, that when a child is born, and as parents, we just take that pledge that now, from now, I will fix everything in my life, child's life, and I will fix everything, and I will make my child the best child in the world, and the most successful, the most happy child. But sometimes we lose the essence of parenthood. I still remember when my daughter was very young. She was in her teenage, and I was having problems dealing day-to-day issues with her. So one day she told me, Mama, you know what, when I was scolding her on something, and I was just telling her, you are not doing this, you are not doing that, you are so bad at this, you are so bad at that. So she told me, Mama, you know what, that the whole world is there to criticize me on my wrong things. And as a person, I know my weaknesses. But as a parent, I expect that unconditional love from you, where I feel that you are accepting me. completely and wholly. So that was the point where I felt, what am I doing? What am I doing as a parent? So yeah, I feel that as parent, we say that we have that unconditional love for our children, that we want to discipline our children, but we forget the essence. In the name of love, in the name of discipline, in the name of career, we forget the essence to nurture our kids in the right way, in the conscious way, in the aware way. So I would like to just tell you a little about my journey, that I was very young. I was 21 years old when I got married, and born and brought up and got married in a joint family. And I always, I was so confused with my own self, my own things, in spite of, getting all the love, all the respect, and doing all the right things. I was not happy. And all the things that I saw, I had in myself. Like I said, ki my children are very, very blessed. I am very blessed with the children I have, because they are so caring, they are so respectful, they are so humble, they are so loving. But at the same time, the emotions, the kind of problems I was facing with them were somewhere deep rooted inside me. So that is the point, my friends, my parents, that it is not the child, it is us as parents who have to introspect inside us. So I'm just telling you to connect you, because when my older child was a teenage, and I was dealing in problems or solving problems with us, I consulted a counselor. And there, the session started, and my daughter chose to go to Switzerland, and my son was in Pathways hostel, and he was coming back on weekends. And I, as a mother, was totally devastated, because my children were not there, and I was not really happy with the way things were going. And there, my transformation started, because it is a well-known fact that children are your biggest teachers. When children are born, we think that now they are born, we'll teach them everything we know, and in fact we'll teach them everything that we don't know. But we just forget, and we just don't understand this, that the children are born to teach us, not us to teach them. Because you know what, there are mirror images, and whatever triggers we have, we see in them, is actually the things where we have to work upon ourself, our inner self. So as we start connecting to ourself, and when I started understanding all these things, so like an onion, my layers started peeling off. So the main reasons, before how to resolve conflicts, I want to tell you that what are the reasons. As we all know, the reasons for the conflicts with our children. So the main reason, as a parent, I feel, is ego. Ego of being a parent, being the authority, being the dictator. So I have said this, you have to do it, because I know better than you. So we as parents most of the time operate from ego, but we are not ready to accept it. Please don't take it to so personally, because I am telling this you from my own experiences. And you know what, the other thing is that difference of opinion. Of course, when a child is born and he has his own brain, he has his own journey, and he has his own mind, of course they will have a difference of opinion. So how important it is to acknowledge the child's opinion also. And if you think that the child is better than you, and he's thinking in a better terms, then why that ego comes, that no, I have said this, so you have to listen to me. And sometimes balance is the key. Most of us sometimes do that, whatever child is saying, will just abide by what the child is saying. No, but the parents can never be the friends. They have to be parents sometimes. As Meena ma'am said, we have to be very assertive in saying no. But of course, their opinion also matter. We have to tell them that your opinion matter to us, but at this age, maybe you are not ready to, accept or understand that where you are operating from is not the right thing for you. And then I feel next reason for conflict is also that limited beliefs and the kind of patterns we have been brought up, the kind of families we belong from and the kind of setup we had in our own childhood. So we operate from that level, and we sometimes, fail to change. So that is also the reason for the conflict with the children. And so there are so many reasons of of the conflicts, but how to resolve these conflicts, which is the topic for today. And it is very, very important to understand, as Meena ma'am said very rightly, that communication is the key. We can not at any point stop communicating with our kids, because communication, we always have to open that communication with our children. And as parents, the problem is that we don't know how to communicate with our children, because most of the times they are not in a mood, or they are in their room, or they have their own classes, they have their own routine. So as parents, we keep peeping in their rooms and feel ki, what is the right time to communicate with them. So here is a trick which I have, applied on myself, and I would also like to share that energy plays a very, very important role in our life. So when we change our energy, our life changes to extreme levels you can't even think of. It happened, at least in my case. So whenever you want to communicate with your child, your energy should be very, very neutral. If you're, sometimes we are angry with the child and we want to resolve some problem, but we already have so much in our mind, that we want to resolve the problem, and we are angry with the child, and we want to resolve the problem, but we already have so much in our mind, that we want to resolve the problem. And that
So thank you so much, Miss Pooja. Uh,
I lost the connection.
Am I audible now?
Yeah, you are audible, but I lost the connection. Can you just put me back for 2 minutes?
Okay, sure.
Yes, my parents, yes, my friends. So I wanted to say that communication plays a very, very important role as a parent in our child's life. And when we are talking to our children, there should be no blame games. We should communicate at a very neutral space, and we should be focusing on the solutions rather than why it happened and why it has not happened, and who was wrong, who was not wrong. And most important is there should not be any criticism, there should not be any comparison with any other person, because it is between your child and you and nobody else. And all the time that child should feel that your parent is having all the faith and trust in you at all times, given all times, whatever so happened in the life, what is wrong, what is right, you are always there with them, standing beside them to help them, to guide them through. Because this is a very, very important aspect I learned in my life, maybe in a hard way, with the wrong experiences. But then I am telling you as a parent that trust, that faith in your child has to be inevitable, and you have to tell your child verbally that we are there for you. And one more thing I'm feeling that, which is, I think Mansi also, said that accepting your child, accept your child whatever they are, howsoever they are. Because when we try to change them and manipulate their emotions and manipulate them with our own choices and own mindset, then the problem appears. You know, when a small child is there and every day, just say, Meena ma'am also just mentioned that a toddler or a young child, they will come to the parent, come to you and tell you about all the problems, all the sadness, if they're hungry, if they're sad, if they're, any emotion they want to say and anything they are feeling, they will come and tell you. But as the child starts growing, they will start hiding things from us. Why is that so? Why children are hiding things from their parents? Because because when they are young, they are coming to us, we had that authority and we felt that ego, that yeah, my child is coming to me for everything, and we feel very proud and we say, we are ready to listen to them for everything they say and we accept it. But as the child grows, they have their own mindset, they have their own decision making power, and they start understanding things. Then when they come to us, we start preaching them all the time. We are always telling them what is right, what is wrong, what is this, what is that, you are not thinking right, you are not saying right, how can you say that, you are not a grown up, I know what I'm saying. So the child feels rejected. When the child feels rejected, then that gap starts building up. I have seen that in my case, because that gap has started building up because my son was in hostel, I was at home. I could not have that balance in me. I would not blame child anyways, because that made all the difference. He started hiding things from me because he might have felt that rejection from me. So if you want to have you want your child to come back and tell you everything, don't keep preaching them, don't keep telling them what is right and what is wrong. Maybe sometimes they come and tell you which is not acceptable to you or what is not right, but please don't interrupt and say anything at that moment. Just take a pause, listen to them completely and from a very neutral space. Because children, they really can understand your energy. Energy plays a very, very important role whenever you are communicating with your child in any which way. And just that when they get rejected from us, the acceptance they get is from their friends. That is what I have experienced. So when they feel rejected, that acceptance comes from their friends, and that's where friends start playing a very important role in their life, and they start defending themselves for everything. So we have to be very mindful, very aware, very conscious. The way I have been brought up, most of us have brought up in a very unconscious way and unaware way. I'm not saying that we had any wrong parenting. Whatever I am is because of my parents. And when I saw the things which are not going right in my life, I used to blame everyone. But we create our own reality. We are the ones who create our reality, and we are responsible for whatever is happening in our life. Nobody else is. So when you start operating from that level where you don't connect to the emotion, and if there is anger, there is sadness, there is, all emotions are important, but the only key is don't get attached to that emotion. And then one another thing I would just like to say, whenever you want to resolve those conflicts, if verbally you are not able to put your word across, just meditate, tell whatever you want to want your child to listen to you, meditate on yourself and tell vibrationally everything you want to say to your child. When your child is not around, play mantras and play chants in their room. Affirm every day on your child's whatever you want to make your child. And you can use so many ways to resolve those conflicts. And lastly, I would like to say that life is not a linear. Life is not linear, and there will be always ups and downs in the life, and conflicts are bound to happen in any relationship and every relationship though. So don't take your life so seriously as I did in my earlier times. But yeah, let everything flow and accept, and just operate from love. That is the only thing a parent can do.
Thank you so much, Miss Pooja. Thank you so much. Uh, it's great to hear from you as a parent, because you've added your experience as a parent, as a healer. So I'm sure the parents might have, their knowledge have enhanced, and they're definitely going to use all those strategies by you. And like very rightly said by you, that life is not linear. That is the reason, if you've seen a pulse, a pulse rate, it's always up and down, which shows that there are always ups, there are downs, and after down there'll be an up. And if it's a straight line, that means you are dead. So it's a very important message from that pulse, that your pulse needs to be working, and that means your ups and downs are there. How we learn from those things, that is the actual thing. So thank you so much. And I'm so happy to see so many questions in our question answer box. And I'm very happy that the parents are participating. So now I would like to invite all my panelists on the panel so that we can open this forum for questions, question and answers. So can I just invite Miss Nina, Miss Mansi, and Miss Pooja to come back on the panel again so that we can have the questions. Miss Meena, can I have you on the screen, please? Okay, so I guess there might be a technical glitch, so she'll be joining us. So I will be reading out my first question, which is a very interesting question and very important question, which has come from the parent. So this question I would like to direct to Miss Mansi. The question is, my child has started listening to rap music, which I feel uncomfortable about. When I spoke to him, he said he likes the beat. Am I giving my child opportunities to explore music and rhythm, art and movement? How do I deal with this situation?
Thank you, Gitanjali, ma'am. Thank you so much for the question. I think after one of Ranveer Singh's movie, this rap culture started, Gully Boy, it started really coming in, and I have had so many clients coming up with, my children are going to learn really wrong words, and so my point here to all my parents is, firstly, uh, if you think stereotypes are affecting you, then first head towards healing yourself and get complete awareness about what is rap culture, or what exactly, So I was just going to the Pathways website, and I just saw Mr. Patrick Brown's video on Corona, and it was extremely very interesting to see that such a lovely message was given through that rap song. And if you go back to the history of rap music is where you can express yourself, and where you can, all your pent up emotions are supposed to come out. So, as a special educator, I'd like to also tell all the parents to, see that if your child is excelling in a certain kind of a music or a dance form, etc., try and use this kinesthetic, into a kinesthetic way of learning. A lot of capital states and other educational things could also be put forth while keeping that interest in rap, first thing. And second thing is, the more resistance you're going to show, the more the child is wanting to do that, so it's good if we let the child explore that, and then slowly in an assertive way, we can show that, oh wow, you love the rap music, then can you listen to the music that I like as well, and then come to a platform and then negotiate and let it go by the flow, because nothing is going to be permanent. The child is not going to like the music permanently or forever. It might just be a very trendy thing for the child, etc. So you have to deal with it accordingly. Thank you, Gitanjali.
Thank you, Ms. Nancy. So our next question is another very interesting question: how to encourage politeness in the child? So I would like Ms. Pooja to answer this question, please.
Thank you, Gitanjali, for this question. And with my own experience, I feel when you as a parent align your energy, and sometimes as parents, we try to manipulate and be soft to the child, and actually we are not feeling that from inside. So, the child gets that energy. And that alignment, that peace inside you shows on your face, and when you talk to that person, that shows they ultimately and exactly catch the vibe. So if you want your child to be polite, not only with you, but the people around you, the staff, the drivers, they just, learn by seeing you. They don't learn from anywhere else. So that we have to start applying with awareness, and they will obviously catch up.
Exactly. Like you said, role modeling and your energies play a very important role.
Yes.
Thank you, Miss
Thank
Pooja.
you so much.
So, Miss Meena, can we have your screen on, please? I guess there's some connectivity issue at that end. So in the meanwhile, I'll take my.
Now?
Yeah, can you see me now?
No, you're not visible.
I can see myself on the screen.
All right. So no issues, ma'am. You can answer like this as well. Then we'll see what the technical issue is. So what the next question, I guess you will be the one who will answer.
Yeah.
Impressionable age of teens. There are various challenges the parents face. At times, children make demands for the things or gadgets, etc., that are not always justified for parents to say no, which leads to formation of bad habit of throwing tantrums. And also they demand permission of events and situations that may not be safe or right for them. So how should the parents say no to these continuous demands without seeming harsh?
It's a very good question, Gitanjali. There are certain ways to deal with continuous demands from children. Firstly, be a role model.
Would you like me to continue?
Yes, I guess there's some connectivity. So I'll take my another question and then we'll get back to Meena ma'am again. So there's another question from a parent, and that is, can you please share some positive strategies in trying to divert the child from excessive screen time? And I guess this is the problem the parents are facing. Currently, we find him trying to sneak in screen time for play, during class time, during
With your phone to start.
if you could.
So I think one of the major reasons why, especially in this pandemic, the screen time problems have accelerated to a level where parents are now clueless that even if we don't ask them to use the screen, what should we ask them to do, because we're at home. So I think practically we all need to just sit, have a meeting with all the members in the family and set ground rules for the family as a whole. And when that is done, there is a sense of seriousness that the child understands that, okay, now this is something which is very seriously taken in the house, and everybody is very concerned about it, and it's not just for me. These ground rules are for every single person in the house. So that could be a method that could be used. Second is, there are many alternative strategies. If you go online and check, there are so many other creative methods where you can indulge, depending on the age group of your child. You could indulge the child into co-curricular activities, which could be anything related to art, music, dance, drama, exercising, yoga, zumba, lots and lots of things. The best way in which you can do this is scheduling the child's day and forming a routine for the child. If that is done, having your own routine at sync with it, then the child, when you know that, when you identify that these are the hours when my child is mostly can tend to move towards using a gadget, etc., you keep yourself free at that point of time, and kind of engage the child in some really interesting things. Slowly if the will of using that is going to reduce and fade off, and the child is going to get excited to look forward to something more newer and better, and allow the child to do what they want to do also, keeping a balance and negotiation in mind. So reinforcement also plays a very important role, and there are many reinforcers. You all can. I'm going to share a PDF with Gitanjali, which Gitanjali can forward it to all the parents. It's going to help them. All the reinforcers that you can use are all mentioned in there, so it's going to really help you out. Thank you. Meena ma'am is also with us.
Yeah. So, thank you, Ms. Mansi. Thank you so much. Yeah, Meena ma'am. Ma'am, you are on mute.
Yes, we were talking about uh, to be a role model, right? Can you hear me?
Yes, yes.
Okay. So exhibit actively the behavior you want the child to cultivate: mindfulness, good health, financial saving. All behaviors parents must exhibit before they expect the children to imbibe them. Very important. Like we have said, set the boundaries together. Boundaries help to limit choice, teach discipline. Pocket money, screen time should have boundaries too. इसको full screen में नहीं है मेरा. Actively listen to your child and understand them. Don't be completely rigid. Only you as a parent understand your child and family circumstances. At times, make exceptions to rules if necessary. Sometimes flexibility is more important than rigidity. So that is what I have to say to your question that you asked me. So we need to be flexible at times, but we need to be rigid too at times. So there has to be a win-win, not a lose, but it has to be a win-win, a game which is win-win for both the parent as well as the child.
So the way you were saying that, there needs to be a little justification of everything. And then if there's something, it's not that, okay, what I am saying in an authoritative style, that's not something. You have to understand other perspective as well.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Thank you, Ms. Meena. So our next question is, you are in a grocery store and you come down very harshly on your child. On your child's behavior because you feel humiliated in front of others. Your child reverted in the same sense now. So I guess that is what we were talking, and Miss Pooja was talking about how to handle this kind of conflict, because the child is in the same thing and now he reverted in the same way. Now you're feeling humiliated. So how to go about it? So I would like to direct this question to Miss Pooja.
Thank you, Gitanjali, for this question. And if I would have been a puja of 10, 12 years back, so I would have really taken it to my heart and really take it on my ego, that how can my child behave like this with me, and because parents feel if my child is behaving in a certain way, that is my fault, and they take it really personally, that they want to show the world that what my child is doing is the best, and they don't expect that behavior from them. But child is a child. No, elder will do that in a grocery store or something. So first we have to keep it in mind that this my child is a child and he is allowed to do what he is doing. If he is not liking anything, and if he is in that mood where he's not behaving properly, don't take it personally, and just you try to ignore the child and just be there, so that the child knows that you are there but you are not listening to that child. So after 5 minutes, maybe, or after all the tantrums are done, and they will see after 5 minutes that you are moving 2 steps ahead, and you are not looking at them, so that when they feel that my mother might leave me and go, so probably they'll get up and just come behind you. But very lovingly you have to keep looking at them, and very with a very balanced head you have to handle this situation, not taking things personally, not shouting at them, and not actually making a drama out of it, because the child is, it's okay, but as a person, parent, you have to keep that in mind. And maybe after you go back home, and then you can make the child understand, when the child is in position to listen to you after you have given served the lunch, or after giving some water, then maybe a day later, or maybe 2 days later, when you have that me time with your child, then you try to make them understand, not at that moment.
True. So we have to really understand that who is the adult in the picture. We cannot get into that collision cause that is, okay, you are saying this, I am saying this. So it's very important for us to. Thank you, Ms. Pooja. So our next question is for Ms. Mansi. And the question is, how can we gratify the anger levels in the child? How does positive reinforcement work? So this is a question came from
Thank you so much. So, considering again, I would only talk about the present situation where we're all in the four walls of the house. The anger levels in everyone, the frustration level in everyone is at a peak right now. So, when there are maids not coming over, when there is no staff, etc., mothers, fathers, everyone working from home, etc., are so frustrated, irritated, annoyed. plus children studying online, etc., completely new gadgets, and there's so much newness in everything, which does cause that angst in us, which leads to showing that emotion on someone or the other. And the easiest target we find is our kids, and vice versa. So addressing to this question, I think the first step towards controlling or managing your child's anger is to accept the fact that these are the triggers of my child. And when I see that these triggers are coming over, I need to be mentally aware that now these things are going to start. So I'm not, paying too much heed to the fact that, oh my God, now he's going to explode or something like that. Second very important thing is, once you know that these are the triggers, after your observation is done, it's very important for you to maintain your own calm and peace. If your body language shows that you're anxious, or in the sense you're sweating and angry and red, your child is going to do the double of what you're doing. The third step that you need to be very careful about when such a thing is happening is that constantly have a very calmed body language, a nice eye contact, and very subtle smile on your face. And the last thing that you will do is, once the whole anger episode is over, give a glass of water with a little bit of, they love having cold water. So give a glass of water and put a little bit of cold water in it, which is going to make them happier that I mom's giving me a cold glass of water. And then sit with them, hold their hand, and ask them, what happened? What's happening with you? Please share it with me, and let's come to some kind of a solution or conclusion. I think this is the most appropriate way for any child of any age. And keep your body language and your own emotions in a manageable blend. And when you feel that you're at a sense of a very high right now, and you can't do that because we are not God, we all have that point where I can't do it anymore. Go to the washroom or go to another room, calm yourself down, relax yourself, and then go back and handle the situation. Because once the words are said and once the actions and reactions are done, you can't take it back, and we all know that.
Very, very true, Mansi. And it's very important for us to understand that anger is also an emotion. It's all right to exhibit it. It's not something that we have to bottle it up and then we have to vent out in one go. So it's okay if the child is showing that anger, that emotion, but how to go about it is something which you have already answered. Thank you so much. So I guess now it's already 6:20, and we would take last two questions. So this question is for Miss Meena, and then I'll move to the last question. What about a 17, 18-year-old seem to be at constant loggerhead with parents? A no is always taken by them so personally. So Meena ma'am, please share your thoughts on that.
Like Mansi said, at this time, parents are really being challenged with difficulties, and certain dysfunctional families are facing it even more, So as parents are also preoccupied with their own work, so they provide a full of desires of the children so that they can be left alone to work. Now what is happening is the children are becoming manipulative, So today's parents are also scared that the children should not take any extreme step, or they try to fulfill all their needs and wants of children, making children drivers of the car. Rather than you being the drivers of the car, the children are becoming drivers of the car. So what is the right way of parenting? Give opportunities to the children to grow, but don't make your child your parent. ये एक guru mantra hai that all the parents should understand. Give opportunities to grow, but don't make your child your parent. Each day is a new day, and if one day the discipline fails, try the next day. Try alternate ways of driving the car and the goals with the children. Now, the most important is present a united front to the children. Both parents must discuss conflict handling solutions together and agree on to set boundaries. It's very important, as both parents should be on the same page while setting boundaries for the children. Sometimes the children become manipulative. एक अगर माँ ने मना कर दिया तो फादर के पास चले गए, फादर ने मना कर दिया तो मदर के पास आ गए. But that is causing a lot of anger in the child, or a lot of frustration in the parents, I am not able to discipline the child as I would like to, So then the parents should be on the same page. Seek help if necessary, professional help like a therapist. You can work together with a therapist to deal with challenges and issues leading to unwanted behavior of your child. A professional can help you better understand your own emotions and your child's thoughts and emotions and can facilitate to a better relationship. Like I said, the best is to handle it yourself, But if sometimes you feel that you're being overburdened or you feel that you're not able to strike the balance, it's good to go individually and then together to a person who's non-judgmental, who can see the situation and help you both as a parent as well as a child. So it's very important to deal with it, nip it in the bud rather than let it grow and you're not able to sort of do something about it, and it boomerangs on your face. So it's always good to nip it in the bud and to deal with it there and then rather than let it grow to a state where you're not able to focus or do anything. The whole family comes to a breakdown. So it's very important for you to nip it in the bud, like I said. And then, like I said, give opportunities to grow, but don't make the child your parent. Again and again, I would like to say this to the parents.
So, yeah, ma'am, thank you. So the next question is in continuation with this only, that what do we do even after setting boundaries for the child and the child is not listening? The 20 minutes never get over and keep extending. We are working parents and then we lose our cool as we don't have the time.
That's a very good question. See, when you say, I talk about assertiveness.
No.
Was that for me? Was
Yeah,
that for me?
answer, please. Yeah.
Okay. So lack of assertive parenting can lead to an undisciplined child. Later, these children have difficulty functioning as teens because they are not habitual of listening to a no, which can cause distress to their lives. These children can't stand things which are not according to them, leading to inappropriate behaviors. So you as a parent should cultivate a resilience in your child. Good habits and a resilience can be cultivated in the young by parents. However, there is no surety that children will have self-control necessary to deal with problems as adults would. So adults too, we need to constantly develop our own tolerance and resilience as problem-solving capabilities. It's not only developing a resilience for the child, but developing a resilience for your own self also. Henceforth, practicing and cultivating resilience in your child is an ongoing process. One needs to constantly work through it over the years. Just as we expect the child to work through it over the years, similarly, the parents too have to work with their behavior, with their resilience, just from the time when they start to become parents. When the child is coming to their lives, we need to start to build our resilience too, along with the resilience of our child.
Thank you. So we have many questions and I'm so delighted to see the kind of questions the parents are asking, but I'm so sorry because of the scarcity of time, we'll not be able to take all the questions, but I'll just read few questions and maybe we'll be going to answer those questions. And Ms. Mansi, the parent has really thanked you and she'll definitely implement those strategies. So the question is, during this pandemic, when all the classes are virtual, the sports classes are not effective. My daughter is becoming reluctant to any physical activity, which she used to love. And I can feel its adverse effects on an energy and behavior. Like Ms. Pooja, you were talking about all the energies, how to handle this situation. So we'll get back to these answers. And I'm just reading it out so that, maybe these questions could be for somebody else as well. Like there's one question which says that, what is a reasonable and ideal time for a 14-year-old to switch off the devices and sleep? What time should we wake up? Point to be noted is that youngsters are not studying at this time, they are on social media. So, and another question, while at boarding, there were activities in between studies. After waking up 6:30, they are ready, go for breakfast, go for their respective classrooms. But now once the child joins the online class, they're continuously sitting in one place. Yes, there are breaks between the class, but the child cannot do what they were doing in school. So they are in the one place all throughout. This is affecting the child's mental and physical health. So how do we deal? So I guess this all, and these questions is evident that this session was really informative and fruitful for them. That's the reason these questions are coming in. And I assured all the parents that these questions will be answered, and we'll get back to you with a document where all these answers will be, the questions will be answered. So this brings to me towards the end of the session. On behalf of Pathways, would like to extend my gratitude to all the panelists present here for joining in, for contributing towards the webinar. And I would like to thank all the parents who join in for the session. I'm sure and I'm very hopeful that this session has helped you to enhance your understanding of different aspects of parenting. So thank you so much. And thank you, panelists. Thank you. Thank you.